You turn on the tap every morning and fill the kettle, and you don't think about it because you're not supposed to have to. Water comes out, you drink it, you pay the bill, and somewhere in the background a company is running the whole arrangement. Clean water, better infrastructure, an efficient system. That was the promise of 1989 made to every household.
Be sure that every time you turn on the tap, there's water.
Meanwhile, last night a water company opened a valve somewhere near a river that you may have swum in and pushed untreated raw sewage directly into it on a dry evening when it hadn't rained, when there was no technical justification. They opened it because, well, it was cheaper than treating the sewage, and the fine they might eventually receive years from now will cost way less than the treatment would have cost.
So the English privatised water monopolies are sorry for turning your beaches and your rivers into sewers.
Since 2020, England's water firms pumped sewage into our rivers and seas for more than 7 million hours.
This is the documented business logic of a privatised monopoly with no competition, a captured regulator, and 35 years of practice. Well, that river runs to a beach. Someone went swimming there this morning. Maybe you did. Maybe your kids did. And the water was rated excellent by the Environment Agency. It said so right on the sign. Surfers Against Sewage received 1,853 illness reports from water users in 2024 alone. 5 people every day, getting sick after entering officially monitored water. That covers only the people who knew they were sick, connected it to the swim, and then actually submitted the report. The actual number is going to be considerably higher, and the group estimates it. In 2025, over 124,000 hours of sewage were discharged into England's bathing waters. In 2024, it was 4.7 million hours. For comparison, a full calendar year contains 8,760 hours. The water companies dumped raw sewage from the equivalent of 537 full years in 2024 alone. Well, this is the channel they don't want you to watch, so will you subscribe? Heather Preen was 8 years old. She liked the beach. She was, by her mother's account, a fun-loving little girl who knew only love, happiness, and friendship. In the summer of 1999, her family went on holiday to Devon, as British families do. They paddled, they played, they did exactly what you're supposed to do at the English seaside. Freeze to death, mostly. 2 weeks after that holiday, Heather died from E. coli 0157, contracted from the water. Her mother Julie has spent 27 years since campaigning. Her father Mark later took his own life. Julie said in February 2026, "That summer we went on holiday as a family of 4 and came home as a family of 3. She also said water companies tried to deflect blame for Heather's death, and 27 years later they're still pumping sewage into our waterways. In 2023 alone, water companies in England discharged raw sewage for 3.6 million hours. That was a 105% increase year on year. In 2025, 291,000 monitored spill events occurred. The industry celebrated this as progress. It was a drier year than usual. The improvement was weather, not infrastructure. Ruben Santa is a surfer and teacher from Devon. He surfed in polluted water in Clevedon Marine Lake and developed Meniere's disease? Meniere's disease. Ruben Santa is a surfer and teacher from Devon. He surfed in polluted water at Clevedon Marine Lake and developed I just looked it up. Meniere's disease, right? Meniere's. God damn it, Meniere's. Meniere's. A chronic, incurable condition of the inner ear that has ended his relationship with the sea. He said, "This isn't bad luck." Charlie Clark is a triathlete who developed an infection around his heart after swimming in the same lake. ECG monitors initially read it as a heart attack. Doctors confirmed a virus contracted from ingesting the polluted water had lowered his blood pressure and caused a minor cardiac episode. He now checks pollution alerts before every event and is pulled out of multiple triathlons because there is poo in the water. Susie, a sea swimmer from Bognor Regis, ended up in critical care, needing open heart surgery after becoming seriously ill in the water. Shelley, a carer from Scotland, was hospitalised for 5 days with diarrhea that she contracted from contaminated water. These are not freak accidents. They are the consequences of an arrangement, a very specific and documented arrangement that was made in 1989 without asking anyone. They didn't ask you, they didn't ask me, they just did it anyway. And this has been running at your expense, on your pipes, in your rivers, and in your water ever since.
No, no, no.
Because in 1989, Margaret Thatcher's government privatised the water and sewage system of England and Wales. At the time, the companies had zero debt. The government wrote off £5 billion of their existing liabilities and handed them a further £1.5 billion in what was called a green dowry and floated them on the stock exchange. England and Wales became the only place in the world with a fully privatised water system. Not the only place in Europe. No. The only place in the entire damn world. Well, Scotland said no. When John Major's government tried the same thing in Scotland in 1994, the opposition was so united it barely constituted a debate. In Hansard, MP John Home Robertson said it was one of the very few issues about which it would be impossible to start an argument in the streets, households, pubs, clubs, or anywhere else in Scotland. Scottish water remains publicly owned to this day. The average water bill in Scotland is £107 cheaper per year than in England. Between 2002 and 2018, Scottish Water invested on average 35% more per household than English water companies did, because money paid to Scottish Water stays in the system, instead of leaving the country in dividends. Scottish rivers are cleaner, Scottish bills are lower. The experiment in England and the non-experiment in Scotland have been running side by side for 35 years, and the results are in. Wales is now largely run by Welsh Water, a not-for-profit company since 2001. No shareholders, no dividends, run solely for the benefit of customers. Northern Ireland's water has no domestic charge at all, paid through the rate system instead. England has the private model, the unique model, the experiment. Let us see how the experiment is going, shall we? Well, since 1989, water companies in England and Wales have paid out somewhere between £78 billion and £88 billion in dividends to shareholders. The exact figure depends on who's been counting it, you see. But all serious analysis agrees it is above £70 billion. In the same period, industry debt has risen from zero to approximately £64 billion. So the companies that started with no debt were gifted public assets, charged customers for 35 years as a monopoly from which these customers had zero ability to escape, and are now sitting on £64 billion of debt accumulated largely to fund dividend payments to investors. That's not an accident. That's a business model. University economics professor Dieter Helm described it clearly. Regulation was flawed from the outset in that it provided no checks to financial engineering and excessive borrowing. Thames Water serves 16 million people across London and the Thames Valley. It is the largest water company in the UK. It currently carries approximately £18 billion in debt. Well, it had zero debt when it was just given away and privatised. And it's under the ownership of Australian investment bank Macquarie. And between 2007 and 2017, the debt tripled from $3.4 billion to $10.8 billion, while the company paid out $2.5 billion in dividends. Since privatisation in 1989, Thames Water has paid its shareholders over £7.2 billion. In 2024, the company was fined $104 million by Ofwat, the largest ever fine given to a privatised utility. In May 2025, it was fined a further £18.2 million, specifically for paying dividends without linking them to company performance. The company is currently in special administration. Its shareholders, which include the Chinese National Sovereign Wealth Fund, Kuwait's Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, have written their stakes to zero. They were in charge of your water, guys, alright? Abu Dhabi and China owned your water supply. Who let that happen? The infrastructure they left behind is now pumping sewage into the Thames.
For decades, water companies and the regulator have focused on keeping bills down, but public outrage at the pollution of rivers like the Test has changed the politics and the priorities. And in our privatised system, it may also have pushed up the price of fixing it. The cost of borrowing and the return expected by investors have all gone up. That means we have all got to pay more.
More than a third of every pound you pay to your water bill does not go towards water. According to a University of Greenwich study published in 2025, 35 pence of every pound collected from customers in 2023 to 24 went to debt, interest payments and shareholder dividends. You are a third of the way through your water bill before they have done anything with a pipe. The Severn Trent CEO received £3.3 million in 24 to 25. The average water company CEO earns £1.1 million that year. The CEO of Southern Water had his salary increased by 80% to £1.4 million in 2025, a move that prompted the Environment Secretary to personally urge him to decline the raise.
I really would urge them to think about this very, very, very carefully.
So should he turn down that pay rise?
Well, I think it would be right if he did. It's a matter for him, it's not a matter for government.
Hey look, if you want to pay me £1.4 million, I'll go poo in a river. I can do it. Southern Water defended it by explaining that 80% was not technically a bonus, but a 2-year long-term incentive plan. Right. Steve Mogford, the CEO of United Utilities, was paid £2.9 million before he retired in 2023, despite United Utilities ranking as the biggest culprit of illegal sewage release in England. The companies collectively paid out £15 million to their executive team in 2024 to 25, a rise from £13.8 million the previous year. In August 2024, Ofwat fined Thames Water £104 million, Yorkshire Water £47 million, and Northumbrian Water £17 million for their role in the sewage scandal. The response from the sector? Sewage release increased by 8,000 hours year on year. Fining these companies has roughly the same deterrent effect as fining a casino 50 quid for operating slightly tilted roulette tables. It's just being factored into the cost of doing business. It's cheaper than doing the actual damn work. It is apparently cheaper than fixing the pipes. 2/3 of the largest water companies in England employ senior executives who previously worked at Ofwat, the regulator supposed to be holding them to account. No government agency tracks any of this. Nobody monitors the door.
Ofwat has failed to protect customers from water companies' mismanagement of their hard-earned money. So today, I can announce that the Labour government will abolish Ofwat.
In July 2025, the government announced Ofwat would be scrapped entirely and replaced with new regulators. The response from water company lobbyists was reportedly warm, since they had been involved in designing the replacement. I've had enough of this right now. I want off. Your water bill is going up. In April 2025, average household water bills rose by 26%, an increase of £123, taking the national average to £603 per year. In April 2026, they rose again by 5.4%, adding another £33, putting the typical bill at £639. Ofwat has authorised water companies to increase bills by 36% total between 2025 and 2030. The companies say the money is needed to fix decades of underinvestment in the infrastructure they were supposed to be maintaining. The industry body Water UK described this as record investment. What they mean is that the years of extracting dividends instead of, doing what they were supposed to be doing and maintaining the pipes has left the system in somewhat of a state that now requires emergency spending. And of course, the bill for that emergency spending is landing on the people whose money has been being extracted in the first place. Spoiler alert, that would be you. Complaints about water bills to the consumer watchdog CCW rose by 51% in 2025. Over a quarter of adults in England have considered just not paying their water bill in protest. Every river in England is now polluted. That wasn't a mistype or read or anything. No, not most rivers, every single one. The government's own target for when rivers might recover is 2050. You will be waiting at least 24 years for a river that is not contaminated with shit. The privatisation that was supposed to make the system efficient was announced in 1989. The rivers they promised to clean have not been cleaned in 35 years of private ownership. They will apparently be clean in another 24 years. That would make it 59 years from the date of privatisation to something approaching acceptable. Public infrastructure in your grandparents' time was doing better than this. Not a single new reservoir has been built since 1992. The population of England has grown by approximately 10 million since then. In the same period, water companies paid out somewhere about £78 billion to shareholders. They found the money for dividends, but they did not find the money for reservoirs.
Yorkshire Water has become the first major utility company to impose a hosepipe ban.
Yorkshire Water imposed a 5-month hosepipe ban on its customers in 2025, while simultaneously being downgraded by the regulator for increasing its pollution incidents. The company told the public it did not have enough water. The regulator told the public that the company was making its pollution worse. In the middle of that, 2.4 billion litres were being lost every single day to leaks in pipes that had not been replaced because the money that should have gone to replacing them went to shareholders in Abu Dhabi, Australia and Kuwait. There is a word for this arrangement. Well, there's several actually, fairly choice ones. The polite one is privatisation. The more accurate one, used by The Guardian in 2019, is an organised rip-off. The most accurate one is probably something you'd say when you open your water bill in April. So what can you actually do about any of this? Several things, and all of them are worth knowing. First, download the Safer Seas and Rivers Service app from Surfers Against Sewage before you or your family go anywhere near any water. It gives you real-time alerts on sewage overflows at specific locations. In 2025, 74% of illness cases reported by SAS occurred at beaches officially rated good or excellent by the Environment Agency. The official rating tells you how the water has performed historically. The app tells you what happened last night. If you get sick after swimming, report it to Surfers Against Sewage at sas.org.uk. Every single report that they receive becomes data. Their 1,853 illness reports in 2024 are cited in parliamentary debates, in legal cases, in regulatory decisions. So your report really does matter. Write to your MP using one specific sentence. Ofwat allowed water companies to raise bills by 36% between 2025 and 2030. In 2024 alone, those same companies paid their executives £15 million and their shareholders £1.2 billion. That should not be legal while they are dumping sewage. Ask your MP what they're going to do about it. Next, check whether you are on a social tariff. Most water companies offer reduced bills to households on certain benefits. Most eligible households aren't claiming, so contact your water company and ask. If you're a shareholder through your pension, you may already own a stake in this. The shareholders of Thames Water include British pension funds. The university's superannuation scheme held shares. Your retirement savings may have been funding dividends from a company dumping sewage in the river that you grew up near. Pension trustees are legally required to respond to members on questions of this kind. You are allowed to ask. Julie Mann is still campaigning. In February 2026, 27 years after Heather died on that Devon beach, she requested a meeting with the Prime Minister. She said, "My daughter Heather was 8 years old when dirty water killed her. She was a fun-loving little girl who knew only love, happiness, and friendship. That summer we went on holiday as 4. There is nothing in those plans that would have saved Heather. Nothing that will stop this from happening to another family. That is not good enough. I will not stop until no other parent has to live through what I lived through every single day." The companies that took £88 billion in dividends, loaded £64 billion of debt onto the system, dumped sewage for the equivalent of 537 years in 2024, and are now asking you to pay 36% more over 5 years? Well, they're largely owned by foreign sovereign wealth funds and private equity firms with no particular interest in whether your rivers are clean or full of shit. Because they're full of shit. They have an interest in financial returns. They have been getting financial returns. By those specific metrics, the experiment has been a magnificent success. 35 years of guaranteed income, zero competition, and a regulator Parliament described as captured. By any other metric, just look around.